That, folks. I did not realize what the hour of the day was, although I've been tweeting at everybody saying, get in here by 10:30. I know, I'm awful. I'm terrible as a host. Just absolutely wretched. How is everybody out there in internet land this fine Saturday morning? My name is Brian Trippett. I am, as always, your Front Porch Conservative. Welcome once again to Front Porch Brunch, our weekly review and comment upon items in the news, and boy, has it been a week for news. Oh, the old Chinese proverb about may you live in interesting times, if ever it was to apply to a period in history, 2023 is it, because we are living through some amazing times, and news is being chronicled about it. You're being told things. What should you think? What should you not think? Complicating that problem is, do you have time to think about it? Amazing times. Oh, my goodness. And news is being chronicled about it. Yep. There we go. Sorry about that. Rumble decided to give me a second speaker. Too funny. Oh, I love what I do. I really do. It's just, I can Gen X boomer something better than almost anybody on planet Earth. It is just amazing, my ability to mess something up. But anyway, we're going to give everybody a few minutes to get in here and get themselves situated, pour themselves a cup of coffee, pour themselves a cup of tea, pour themselves a mimosa. Of course, when it gets to 11 a.m., that's when our dear friend Leanne's going to be pouring a Bloody Mary, so you never know with her, the unofficial bartender of the Front Porch. But anyway, it's Saturday morning. It is so good to see everybody here. And man, like I said, it has been a week for news. Just amazing. I have to give some thank yous as we start out, as always, because you guys are probably one of the most amazing audiences on the whole of the internet. Toward the end of last week, I posted a video, and we're going to talk about the subject matter of that video, but the whole Russell Brand situation. And oh my gosh, I got such a positive reaction from it. So from the bottom of my heart, as the new kid on the content creation block, muy thank you, muy thank you, muy thank you. You guys are amazing. So let's take a look, see who's floating around in the room. If you're out there, give me a shout, either on Rumble or on YouTube or on Twitter. So good morning, Mr. Lowry. It is so good to see you, sir. Hat tip. So glad to have you in the house. Glad to have you in the house. So it's going to be a good Saturday morning. We'll kind of give it a few minutes, let everybody filter in the room. Again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. This is Front Porch Brunch. The opportunity for you, the hardworking man or woman out there in America, or around the world for that matter, to be able to take some time to de-stress, breathe, relax, and catch up on what's going on. Because daggone it, you've been out there busting your butt trying to make it for you and your family and your loved ones and for yourself. You know, you're answering to a boss that's driving you crazy. You're answering to coworkers who make you crazy. You know, you're answering to customers that are definitely crazy. And you're trying to keep from going crazy and all this. And in the middle of all that, you don't have time to catch up on the news. But hence, that is the whole wonderful point of the Front Porch. We are here to help you. We are here to provide you with news items that you may not have had a chance to find out about while you were out there working it every day of the week, 5 days a week, 40, 50, 60, 70 hours. God only knows how many hours you put in. And now it's Saturday morning, and you get to go, and turn and look at someone and go, okay, what did I miss out on? Don't know yet, so we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, we got a lot of news to catch up on, and it's for those of you who have college football plans, and God love you if you do, and if you don't, that's cool too. We in my neck of the woods, we have a noon kickoff. So if you are a person that tailgates, and if you've never been to a college tailgate, I highly recommend it to you. Noon kickoffs usually mean kegs and eggs. Now, for people who are fans of college football, you're going to understand what that term means. Basically, the idea is your tailgating will start at some point in the morning, and it will involve, cooking breakfast, out on some, hot plates or whatever, and drinking your favorite adult beverage if you choose to imbibe that early in the morning. So in my neck of the woods, we have a kegs and eggs game, which is always a load of fun. We got a noon kickoff, but don't worry. Your friendly neighborhood front porch conservative is going to be here doing his duty and, just making sure everything's cool. Oh, by the way, I see some rumbly folks over there. Bless your hearts. I see you all quietly loitering over there in the rumble. Glad to have you, by the way. I do see you over there. So drop a comment in chat. Tell us who you are. We'd like to find out, what you're up to and all that good stuff. Who you are and all that. We're a friendly bunch, I promise. We're not going to bite, unless you ask, but that's a whole other context. God, I'm awful. I am awful this early in the morning on a Saturday. But anyway, we got a whole lot of news items to get into, and I am so looking forward to it. It has been such an amazing week. Really, it has. I've never quite seen anything like this. I guess the big story that's been dominating the news for everybody, or at least most people anyway, is this whole Russell Brand situation. Now, I mean, I've got, and there's, like I said, I've said in my videos all week long, there is a whole host of things that all of this that's swirling around him right now is just kind of encapsulating, and so many lessons to think about, so many things to talk about. I mean, and I'm sure that, inside your social circles, be it your family or your coworkers or your buddies or wherever it is, this subject may or may not, probably has come up, and I think there's a lot of different things that go into this. And I think it's definitely worth talking about, especially here at brunch. If you'd asked me, like, let's say 10, 15 years ago, what I thought of Russell Brand, I'd have said, okay, he's one more crazy Hollywood type that, lives a wild lifestyle and, makes crazy statements and whatever else. And, he had his 15 minutes of fame and then he kind of disappeared off the scene and whatever. Well, if life is truly about reinvention, then Russell Brand reinvented himself. But along the way, in that reinvention, apparently, by all accounts, the bad boy, Lothario, sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle he was living is no longer what he's living. He's now happily married. He has 2 children. Apparently a third one's on the way by all the reports. Is he still edgy? Does he still make comments that make you go, ooh? Yeah, he still does that. But is he the man that he once was? Well, apparently not. And we can all make a lot of statements about, what does it mean? Is this one of those moments where, you finally reap what you've sown? In other words, all the things that you did a long time ago that were bad or untoward or whatever, are they now coming back to haunt you? Well, maybe there is a certain amount of that. I mean, if you go to this story in the Times of London, and it's a lengthy piece. I mean, I don't know how many words are in it, but I mean, it's pretty documentable. Now, we can sit and argue about the documentation all you want to. That's fine. But, the reporters that worked on this story have got pieces of evidence and documentation that they feel, justifies the story of these 4 women who have come forward and said that Russell Brand engaged in behavior that is rape or sexual assault. Okay. And on the other side, you've got Russell Brand saying, look, every relationship I was in was consensual, yada, yada, yada. And like I said, we're going to settle, in the end, this is going to get settled in the court of law, because that's where this is going. Right now, it's in the court of public opinion. And people are making of the information and the evidence what they will. They're assigning to it certain values. They're assigning to it certain beliefs. And we're in that process now where the heat in the crucible is being turned up, and we're going to burn this thing down to whatever is pure truth and whatever's not. Whatever's not, we're going to like gold, we're going to wipe the dross away, and we'll get down to pure, unadulterated truth. So there's that aspect of it's going on. You know, are you reaping what you've sown? The other aspect of it, I think a lot of people are talking about, is the fact that now here's a man who is speaking out about pharmaceutical companies. He's speaking about the military-industrial complex. He's bringing information to the table, which, by the way, I got to say this. I love it that people are calling Russell Brand some kind of right-wing commentator. That cracks me up. I'll tell you why. Have you seen some of the people that Russell Brand has had on his channel? I mean, we're talking Noam Chomsky, who is an anarchist and a definite lefty. He's had Bernie Sanders. He's had all kinds of people from the political left. I think Russell is kind of like all of us in one respect. I think the man wants to have a conversation. He's like, look, let's talk about this. You know, I may not agree with you. You may not agree with me, but let's talk about it. You know, and on that point, I can totally respect Russell. You know, I really do. I think that that's exactly one of the things we absolutely need in this day and age. Let's have some conversations. You know, let's have something beyond like 20-second sound bites. Let's talk to each other. That's why, in part, I love the format of social media. Okay? And I love the freedom that it gives you to be able to engage with somebody. Like I said, I don't necessarily expect someone to agree with me when it's all said and done, and I'm sure they don't expect me to agree with them either, but at least we can find out what we think about each other. And that's one thing I'll give Russell Brand a lot of credit for. He'll talk to people. He'll bring you information that you might not otherwise know. Matter of fact, and I'm going to do a video about it this weekend. I'll probably have the video up tomorrow morning, where he just did a quick 3-minute video on Rumble last night, just kind of updating everybody about where he's at. But even in that 3-minute video, he's bringing out information that I had either forgotten about or that, I wasn't aware of. And I had to go look it up. And when someone makes me intellectually curious enough to want to go look at something that they're presenting to me, that's a good thing. And not because I'm trying to be, the curator of all knowledge. That's not my point. My point is someone has engaged me enough and said, hey, have you thought about this? And I'll be like, well, no, I really hadn't, but okay, let's take a look at it. So, there's the aspect of Russell Brand bringing information to the fore that maybe people aren't necessarily thinking about, or maybe they're not aware of, and all of a sudden you've got some very powerful interests that would love nothing better than to shut him down, which we'll get into that aspect of that in just a little bit when we get into a little further discussion of this. As a matter of fact, let me find that paragraph real quick from in that Times of London, because this to me was the paragraph that's like, I'm not so sure about this one. Take a look at this. This is from the Times of London story about Russell Brand, the initial allegations, talking about the 4 individual women. All said they were ready to speak only after being approached by reporters. Several said they felt compelled to do so given Brand's newfound prominence as an online wellness influencer with millions of followers on YouTube and other sites. Now, I've got some problems with that, as you might expect. Okay? I can understand and or respect that for some individuals, particularly women, that it may take some time before they feel the willingness and or the comfort to come forward and talk about something that's happened to them in their lives. Okay? And I can also understand reporters being reporters. I may not like the fact of the job they've got, but that's the job they've got. But why do I feel like somebody went digging around on Russell and they kept digging and they kept digging, until finally they found somebody? Which, by the way, is a whole other aspect of the story that, is being talked about. Is, did Russell Brand's handlers, for lack of a better term, did they cover up what they knew was his otherwise bad behavior, and they let it go because Russell was good for ratings or good for revenue or good for whatever? Okay. Now that's a whole question inside British media. Okay. That does not necessarily have a thing to do with anybody else or Tom, Dick, and Harry on the street corner. But there's that aspect of the story that's being talked about. But here you have these four individuals who may or may not, by the way, have ever come forward with these allegations. And I'm not saying that the allegations are not important. I'm not saying they should be dismissed. I'm not saying anything of the sort. I'm just saying that I'm just asking the question, would they have come forward had they not been approached by a reporter? We don't know. Maybe they never would have. Maybe they would. I don't know. So there's all kinds of different angles to all of this, okay? And, oh, good morning. How are you? Okay, we need a weather report. What's going on up in Connecticut? What's the weather like up there? Got to know. Inquiring minds got to know. So, got to find out. Glad you're here this morning. Good. And by the way, once again, thank you for everything we did last Saturday morning on the coverage of the Ken Paxton impeachment vote in the Senate. That was so cool. That really was. Thank you so much for everything you did on that. That was just nothing short of amazing. So, to get back to where I was going. And when all this broke, as you might expect, people who were in business, cold and drizzly 54. Ooh. I hope you are snuggled up in front of a warm fire with a cup of something as you're listening to this. That's my hope. That's my hope. But as you might expect, people who were doing business with Russell, they're now backing off. Which, okay, you can make an argument that that's right for them to do. It's not right for them, but that's what they're doing. And furthermore, you've got, book deals that are on hold. You got concerts being canceled. You got appearances being whatever. Okay. And all of that in this day and age in which we find ourselves, you would expect to happen. But something happened toward the middle and the end of this week that absolutely took this whole Russell Brand story to a whole different level and is now, I think, gotten it out in the public consciousness even further. And it's now getting us into a discussion of freedom of speech. Yeah, and absolutely I agree with this. Innocent till proven guilty, but it looks bad for him. However, the issue is not his... Yeah, good point. Good point. So, and something happened, and this one really is, to me, just nothing short of amazing. Really it is. I want you to take a look at this. because this one kind of blows the mind. And I expected it, but it didn't. YouTube blocked Russell Brand from making money on his channel over these allegations. Now, I want to read a little bit of this just to remind everybody of what they've done here, okay? This is from Robert Hart. This was printed about 4 days ago. Let me get to there we go. YouTube on Tuesday has stopped Russell Brand from making money from his channel on the platform after he was accused of rape and sexual assault, cutting off a key source of income for the actor and comedian after his publisher, management agency, and charity severed ties over the allegations. YouTube has suspended monetization on Brand's channel for violating its, quote, creator responsibility policy, the Google-owned video sharing site confirmed to forums in a statement on Tuesday. The decision will stop Brand from making money on the platform, which primarily comes from adverts embedded in videos, and applies to, quote, all channels that may be owned or operated by Brand, YouTube said, stressing that its rules also apply to behavior off the platform as well. Quote, if a creator's off-platform behavior harms our users, employees, or ecosystem, we take action to protect the community. Now, I've got a problem with this. And here's the question that I have. And I'll throw this out to the chat, be it on YouTube or on Rumble, okay? Can somebody explain to me what it is or how these allegations against Russell Brand harm the users, employees, or ecosystem that is YouTube? Oh, come on, everybody understands that. I don't. And I'm not trying to be a curmudgeon about this. I'm not trying to be, anything other than forthright and ask the question, but I'd kind of like to know. Can somebody please explain to me how these allegations against Russell Brand harm the users, employees, or ecosystem that somehow is YouTube? Because I don't get it. I do not get it at all. So I don't know. Do not know. But anyway, we'll read a little bit further. YouTube acknowledged it is rare for monetization to be blocked for an off-platform behavior, but said its actions against Brand were consistent with previous enforcements of its policies, pointing to its previous decisions to demonetize beauty influencer James Charles and internet personality David Dobrik. Suspended users are banned from using new or alternative channels to circumvent enforcement, YouTube said. Okay. Now, up in Connecticut brings up a very valid piece of information, which most everybody's aware of. Russell went over to Rumble, and he's had the Rumble channel. I mean, he's probably had it for less time than he's had YouTube. That YouTube channel has 6.5 million viewers, or subs, I should say. Which, by the way, if any of y'all out there are Russell Brand subscribers and you're looking for a new home to go to, you can subscribe to my channel anytime you want. I'm just saying, I got plenty of room for you. Come on over. But 6.6 million, that is a significant number. I mean, some of the content creators I follow, for example, Gary Beekler, a.k.a. Nerdrotic, he's got 860,000, which that number's huge. And that's the result of being on YouTube for a long time and a lot of hard work. The Critical Drinker, Will Jordan, he has, I think it's like 1.5 million or 1,750,000, I think. So you've got, but 6.6 million. That's amazing. Yet Russell Brand cannot receive one thin dime from the revenue he would otherwise get from YouTube because of not a proven fact in court, by the way, an allegation. And I tell you what, I'm going to play this quote, and I stand by it. She's absolutely right. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and take a listen to the comments from Allison Morrow, because she brings up a perfectly valid point. Give me a second. I want to pull this up. Here we go. Listen to this.
He's going along, he's fine, he's making millions of dollars, YouTube's making millions of dollars, and all of a sudden, anonymous allegations come out of nowhere. Why now? I mean, I think that's a fair question to ask. I also think it's a fair question to ask why, YouTube didn't just kick him off altogether. Why didn't they just kick him off the platform? Why are they still making money off of him if they hate his guts so much?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a completely fair question. Yeah, good point. Good point. Absolutely valid point. And so is Allison Morrow's. YouTube doesn't mind making money off Russell Brand. YouTube doesn't mind getting the advertisers that want to advertise with them because they know Russell Brand's channel reaches 6.6 million viewers and subscribers. But YouTube's not going to pay Russell Brand. I mean, I have a word for this. Can we say hypocrisy? Can we say you're screwing the guy over without the benefit of being kissed first? Sorry if I'm being graphic, but that's pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, it just really kind of blows the mind. Am I surprised by it? Yeah, I guess you could say I am in one sense. I shouldn't be. I should not be surprised in the slightest. Yet they're doing it. However, there is a little bit of light in the darkness. And this is where it got taken up to a whole other level. Okay? Because somebody, or somebodies, I should say, came forward and said the quiet part out loud. I want to take you again to a letter that came out of the Culture, Media, and Sports Committee, which is a standing committee of the House of Commons in Great Britain. I want to show you this letter. We're going to read this thing in its entirety. And this is addressed to Chris Pavlovsky, who is the CEO of Rumble. Dear Chris, I am writing concerning the serious allegations against Russell Brand in the context of being a content provider on Rumble with more than 1.4 million followers. The Culture, Media, and Sport Committee is raising questions with the broadcasters and production companies who had previously employed Mr. Brand to examine both the culture of the industry in the past and whether that culture still prevails today. However, as we are looking at the use of his social media, including on Rumble, where he issued his preemptive response to the accusations made against him by the Sunday Times and Channel 4 dispatches, while we recognize that Rumble is not the creator of the content published by Mr. Brand, we are concerned that he may be able to profit from his content on the platform. We would be grateful if you would confirm whether Mr. Brand is able to monetize his content, including his videos related to the serious allegations against him. If so, we would like to know whether Rumble intends to join YouTube in suspending Mr. Brand's ability to earn money on the platform. We would also like to know what Rumble is doing to ensure that creators are not able to use the platform to undermine the welfare of victims of inappropriate and potentially illegal behavior. Yours sincerely, Dame Caroline Dinenage, DBE, Member of Parliament, Chair, Culture, Media, and Sport Committee. Now, that letter is where this gets taken up to a whole new level. Okay? She didn't say it in so many words in this letter, but she said it in so many words. It's kind of like the old joke, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. That's exactly what this letter is. We would be grateful if you would confirm if Mr. Brand is able to monetize his content, including his videos relating to the serious accusations against him. If so, we would like to know whether Rumble intends to join YouTube in suspending Mr. Brand's ability to earn money. Translation, we want you to do it. We're just not going to tell you that flat out. It's kind of one of those wink, wink, nudge, nudge, know what I mean moments. That's exactly what they're doing here. The government of Great Britain is asking a social media content platform to suspend the ability of a content creator to make revenue from their work, and in the end try and get him or her banned off the platform over, let me say it again, an accusation. Not something that has been proven in a court of law, not something that he has been found guilty of by a jury of his peers, not something for which there is completely provable evidence that has been vetted thoroughly, over an accusation. Now, this sort of thing that's going on with Russell Brand, and what I'm referring to is the whole, we're going to put the screws to you because of that which you are accused, not that which you are proven guilty of. This kind of thing's been going on for a while. But if ever you needed proof that this is going on in the world, this is it. This right here is proof. I mean, there has been here in the United States, for people who are watching around the world. And by the way, I had one of the really coolest things happen to me this week. That most recent video I put out got a comment put on it by someone in South Africa. I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. There's an individual in South Africa that found this video I was doing. Me, a Gen X boomer that's residing in, the great state of West Virginia here in the United States of America. And somebody in South Africa was watching my video and said, "Hey, I loved your work. Keep it up. Glad to see." I went, "Wow, that's amazing. That's just amazing to me." So let that be a lesson to you. You never know who you're going to influence by the actions that you take, or where in the world they may or may not see it. It just blew me away. Yeah, but for everybody around the world and for everybody here in the United States, this sort of thing in the U.S. has been going on for a while. I mean, how many different examples of this have we seen from the Twitter files that Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger and others have brought forth and showed demonstrably that the federal government was reaching out to Twitter specifically and saying, "Hey, we need you to take down this post. Hey, we need you to kind of throttle the influence on this. Hey, can you do something about this? Because this is just this is no good." Okay, it's been happening here in the U.S. to the point now that, and I got to catch up with somebody on this and find out where exactly it stands. That there's a case that's working its way up to the Supreme Court, known as Missouri v. Biden, that gets to the whole question of should the federal government have the right to censor speech on a social media platform, aka Twitter. And I know that there were certain filings that were being done before the U.S. Supreme Court, I think as recent as Friday. So I got to catch up on where all that's at. But yeah, this sort of thing's been going on here in the United States and more likely all over the world. We've got a perfect example of it right now that's happened in Great Britain. Okay. You have a standing committee of the House of Commons emailing the CEO of YouTube's biggest competitor, and not in so many words saying to them, "Hey, YouTube demonetized this guy. Are you guys planning on doing the same thing?" What happened next gives me a little bit of hope. A little bit. I'm going to show you Rumble's response to this, and this is classic. This to me is the equivalent of the German commanders coming to General McAuliffe at Bastogne and offering him terms of surrender, and McAuliffe giving them a one-word response: nuts. Translation: go pound sand. I'm going to read this in its entirety because this is great. This is from Chris Pavlovsky. Today, we received an extremely disturbing letter from a committee chair in the UK Parliament. While Rumble obviously deplores sexual assault, rape, and all serious crimes, and believes that both alleged victims and the accused are entitled to a full and serious investigation, it is vital to note that recent allegations against Russell Brand have nothing to do with the content on Rumble's platform. Just yesterday, YouTube announced, based solely on these media accusations, that it was barring Mr. Brand from monetizing his video content. Rumble stands for very different values. We have devoted ourselves to the vital cause of defending a free internet, meaning an internet where no one arbitrarily dictates which ideas can and cannot be heard, or which citizens may or may not be entitled to a platform. We regard it as deeply inappropriate and dangerous that the UK Parliament would attempt to control who is allowed to speak on our platform or to earn a living from doing so. Singling out an individual and demanding his ban is even more disturbing given the absence of any connection between the allegations and his content on Rumble. We don't agree with the behavior of many Rumble creators, but we refuse to penalize them for actions that have nothing to do with our platform. Although it may be politically and socially easier for Rumble to join a cancel culture mob, doing so would be a violation of our company's values and missions. We emphatically reject the UK Parliament's demands. Yes! Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you are to respond to this kind of thing. Or I should say, a social media company needs to respond to this kind of thing, especially if they believe in the First Amendment. My hats to Chris Pavlovsky, hat tip, and a toast. You earned it. That succinct response absolutely earns you my respect. I have a lot of reasons for having a channel on Rumble, okay? But if I ever had any doubt as to why I have a channel on Rumble, buddy, you just gave me complete confidence I am where I need to be. So, God bless you, sir. So, yeah, I mean, this just got taken up to a whole other level. Now, how it's going to shake out, I have no idea. As I've said all week long, when this broke loose, I have no idea where all this is going. Okay? But there's going to be a lot of issues that swirl around this whole thing until it's all said and done. So, but yeah, I definitely, let me know what you guys think. Oh, wow. Over on Rumble, got a bunch of people in chat. How you doing? Glad that. Oh, no, now I started to say something. Now y'all get scared away. Y'all leaving the room. I promise you can make comments. I'm not a bad guy. Really. Oh gosh. But yeah, we got a bunch of people on Rumble who's watching this morning. We got Roberts in the house. We got up in Connecticut. Got a few other people that are in the room. Glad to have you. But yeah, let me know what you think about all this. I mean, this just, to me, this is like, if you need an in your face example of censorship and attempted censorship, you got it right here with the Russell Brand story. I mean, like I said, there are a bunch of aspects to all this. There's the actual allegations. There's, the old lesson about, reaping what you sow. There's, there's cancel culture aspects to it. There's censorship. I mean, there's just a million and one aspects to this story. But like I said, if you ever needed a blatant example of how where we are in our society, this is it. Where an allegation, not proof, an allegation will get you kicked off somebody's social media platform. or demonetized or both. So it's kind of crazy, absolutely crazy. So it is 10 minutes after 11 on Saturday morning. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your Front Porch Conservative. We are hanging out talking about the news and having a lot of fun doing it. We are on Rumble, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter. So we're trying to get out there to as many different places as we possibly can. We're not monetized on YouTube, but we are on Rumble. So if you feel so inclined, please feel free to drop some coin into the Fedora Fund. Please do not do anything irresponsible. I don't want anybody doing anything that's going to put them in a bad way. But if you got a little extra change in your pocket and you feel so inclined and you're enjoying what you're seeing, just drop a little Rumble rant out there. You're not going to hurt my feelings on the slightest. And we're glad to have everybody who's watching this morning. So let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about another piece of news that broke this week and what it may or may not mean. Fox News, or News Corp, or both, actually, are run by the legendary and controversial Australian Rupert Murdoch. And he has been running these companies for decades, going back into the 1960s. Well, at age 92, Rupert is stepping down. He is handing over the day-to-day operations as CEO to his son, Lachlan. So here's the story in Breitbart, and we'll read a little bit about it. You know, I can't figure out what he looks like exactly. And I'm not trying to pick on a 92-year-old man. I get it, but it's just like, it's not exactly the most flattering picture that they ever could have taken of the guy. I'm just saying. Australian-born media titan Rupert Murdoch is stepping down as chairman of the board of both Fox Corp and News Corp, the company said Thursday. The move will be official in November, CNBC reports, thus bringing to an end a media journey that began in 1952 when Murdoch took over the running of The News, a small Adelaide newspaper in South Australia owned by his late father, Sir Keith Murdoch, one of Australia's most distinguished newspapermen. Murdoch, 92, will be appointed as chairman emeritus of each company and a network of media assets spread out over 4 continents. Lachlan Murdoch, one of his sons, will become sole chairman of News Corp and will continue as Fox Corp's executive chair and CEO. The Murdoch family's net worth is currently estimated to be $17.4 billion by Forbes magazine. And here's a picture of Rupert. The gentleman on the left is Lachlan. And the gentleman on the right is his other son, James. Now, let's talk about Lachlan for a few minutes. And let's talk about what this means for Fox News and other things going forward. Let's back that up. Let's back that up even further. Let's talk about Rupert. Rupert is a controversial fellow for any number of different reasons. And he's been accused of many different things over the years. None of them very flattering. Rupert is a newspaper man. He's a newsman. He owns Fox News, the New York Post, among any Sky News in Australia, any number of different media organizations. Okay. I guess he's what you call a global media titan, if that term can be applied to him, and I think it really should. Rupert is a businessman, and people over the years have wondered how much of Rupert's business instinct is overriding his news instinct. Let history weigh that out. A lot has been made over the past, call it, let's just say 13 years, about a shift to the left by Fox News. Just a slow, steady slide, right? And some people will attribute that to Rupert not being as hands-on as he once was. Some people will attribute it to the influence of his sons. Some people will say it's Rupert himself. Some people will say it's because Rupert, got rid of Roger Ailes. or maybe Roger Ailes got rid of himself by his own behaviors, probably a better way to say it. But the end result was Fox is where it is right now. I would argue vulnerable. Now, I'll explain that comment here in a minute. But time is no ally to anyone, even as someone as powerful and influential as Rupert Murdoch. He's 92 years old. And you know what? Whatever disagreements I may have with Rupert Murdoch, I wish you good health. I wish you, happiness for the remainder of your life. Enjoy your semi-retirement, if that's what you want to call it. It's time to let your kids take over. Now, that gets to his successor, Lachlan. What is this guy like? Well, depends on who you ask. There we are. That's what I'm looking for. There it is. This is from the BBC. And they ran a snippet real quick. 5 things to know about Lachlan Murdoch. He is a British American in Australia. Lachlan is 52 years old, one of 3 children Rupert had with his second wife, Anna Pedister. Born in London, Lachlan was educated in American schools, graduated Princeton, class 94. His senior thesis wrestled with German philosophy and began with a quote from Lord Byron. Okay, some pretty intellectual heft. He leaves Princeton, spent much of his career in Australia managing his father's businesses. Number 2, Lachlan spent years outside the media empire. He was once seen as the natural heir to the News Corp business, but after a feud with his then boss, Roger Ailes, he left the company in 2005. Ooh, did not know that. Paddy Manning, an Australian journalist who wrote The Successor, a biography of Lachlan Murdoch, says the eldest son felt that his father should have backed him in the dispute. When he left, he was determined never to go back to his father's company. He set up an Australian investment firm that poured millions of money into a range of media marketing products. In 2014, he returned to his father's empire. The return came at a crisis point in the wake of the phone hacking scandal and Rupert Murdoch divorce from Wendy Dang. Lachlan felt that he needed to help his dad. Okay, fair enough. Number 3, he once worked with his brother, but not anymore. In 2015, Rupert named Lachlan and his brother James as the co-chairman of 21st Century Fox. A 2017 New York Times feature described how the brothers set about trying to transform the culture of their father's company, pushing for more transparency, workplace diversity, and greater cooperation between the divisions. But the film studio sold to Disney in 2019, and James Murdoch quit the News Corp the following year, citing in his resignation letter he was leaving due to disagreements over certain editorial content and other strategic decisions. It was reported that James donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to the campaign of Joe Biden and was frustrated with News Corp's coverage of climate change. Lachlan's relationship with Trump is complicated. In his job heading Fox, Lachlan will have to navigate the network's on-again, off-again relationship with the former president. Okay, kind of makes sense. And finally, he is part of the 1%. Okay, he's rich. All right, so that's Lachlan. Now, let's get to the bigger question here. What does Lachlan taking over Fox News, or I should say, not really taking over, having complete sole operational control without dad influencing what's going on, what's that mean for Fox News? Well, it depends on who you ask. I've got a feeling Lachlan might be more of a conservative than people realize. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, he going to go hang out, with in his version of the hoi polloi, but I think Lachlan is philosophically a little more conservative than some of the members of the Murdoch family. That said, however, it has been noted by individuals, particularly Robert Barnes, who was doing some commentary on this the other night, that Lachlan's wife may be the deciding factor about which way Fox News goes. And here's what I'm getting at. I said earlier, a minute ago, that Fox News is very vulnerable. And what I'm getting at is this. If this were Fox News from 2005, no one would dispute their supremacy in media, cable media in particular, okay? Because that is when Fox News was absolutely, in my mind, riding high. You had Roger Ailes running the show. You had the big three, which was Bill O'Reilly at 8. You had Sean Hannity at 9. You had Greta Van Susteren at 10. You had good, solid reporters and commentators at the network. You even had liberals at the network. Alan Combs was still there at the time before he passed away, unfortunately. So you had a really good network made up of really good, solid people, and people were responding to that. They would consistently make Fox News the home of conservative television and news information viewers. And then as the years went by, certain things started to happen. Roger Ailes, of his own actions, is run out of Fox News. Bill O'Reilly is run out of Fox News. Greta Van Susteren leaves. Tucker Carlson comes in. Tucker Carlson makes statements that, run afoul of the leadership at Fox News, going all the way up to the food chain to Rupert. Tucker Carlson's no longer Fox. And the vulnerability starts to show in that ratings start to slip. Certain demographics that Fox News once owned beyond the shadow of a doubt start to slide. And now CNN and MSNBC are creeping up on them in certain demographics, certain time slots, certain everything. Stuff like that hasn't happened for years. Okay? And if you're Lachlan, who now has complete, total, and absolute control over Fox, you got to start making some decisions to right the ship here. Now, is he going to understand the dynamics of what's caused these problems to happen? Well, we'll see. From a monetary standpoint, Fox News isn't hurting for cash. They did a settlement with Dominion for like $750 million. And they had, if I remember the statistics correctly, they had like $4 billion in cash on hand. Okay. While it took a chunk out of their cash reserves, they could afford it. So it's not like Fox News is, in dire straits financially, or they're going to close up shop tomorrow or anything. But where they go from here is going to be very interesting to watch. Are we still going to continue to see this slide to the left, where basically they're CNN light, they're MSNBC light? Or is Lachlan going to realize, hey, man, if we want to keep making money in this cable news business, we need to right the ship here, course correct, get some people out of positions they shouldn't be in, or get some people in some positions to make sure that we're going to be solid. Because to me, that's going to be the $1 million question. So I don't know. But there's one other aspect to this, and I'll mention it briefly. Rupert stepped down, but Rupert is not dead. Now, that's a strange way for me to put it. I get it. Just stick with me for a second here. The way that family trust is set up is fairly fascinating. Let me show you an article from Reuters. The real battle for succession is yet to begin. The article is written by Helen Koster and Dawn, if I mispronounce your name, and I know I'm going to, forgive me in advance, Chmielewski? Listen to this. The Reno, Nevada Trust lays out a scenario through which a potential takeover could occur. It is the vehicle through which the elder Murdoch controls News Corp and Fox Corp through roughly 40% stake in voting shares of each company. Rupert holds a small amount of shares of these companies outside the trust. Upon Rupert's death, News Corp and Fox Corp voting shares will be transferred from Murdoch to his four oldest children, Prudence, Elizabeth, Lachlan, and James, creating a scenario in which three of the children could outvote a fourth, potentially setting up a battle over the futures of the company, even as Lachlan Murdoch runs Fox Corp and is the sole chair of News Corp. This tension would likely play out over the future of Fox News, one of the most polarizing properties in the Murdoch empire and an influential force in U.S. politics, particularly among Republicans who prize Fox's conservative leaning audience. While Lachlan Murdoch does not speak publicly about his political views, James has been more forthright. In 2020, he and his wife, Catherine, took aim at both News Corp and Fox Corp for downplaying the impact of climate change, widely viewed as a contributing factor to the Australian bushfires, in a statement to the Daily Beast. Well, now, I got a feeling I was absolutely right. Turns out that Lachlan may be the conservative one of the bunch. His family, his other siblings may not be, and upon Rupert's death, you want to see a real life ugly fight. That's the way this is setting up. That's what very well could happen. So, for those of you out there who enjoy Fox News, and I'm not kicking you in the teeth for doing it, so don't get me wrong, I get it. But you may want to enjoy these days, because it could very well be these are the last good conservative news days you're going to have on Fox, at least while Rupert's alive and Lachlan's running the show. Just saying. Just saying. Oh, goodness. How y'all doing out there? It's a little quiet in chat, but that's okay. That's perfectly fine. We're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. We're on Twitter. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. It's almost 11:30 on Saturday morning. So for those of you with kickoffs at 12 o'clock for your favorite college football games, glad you're with us and really enjoy. As a matter of fact, Rumble's pleasantly surprising me this morning. We got good, solid 14 or 15 folks over there. Glad to see you. Glad to have you. Drop a comment in chat if you feel so inclined. We'd love to hear from you. Robert's here this morning up in Connecticut's here. There's a few other people hanging out in chat. Glad to have you, as always. It's a good Saturday morning. It's a good Saturday morning. So, got one other set of stories to talk about, and I almost feel like I'm beating a dead horse with this, but we've been talking. I mean, I've been talking about it for a while, so I'm gonna keep on talking about it. Has anybody seen how a couple of stories came out in Politico? Let's just get into this. And one of them, I think, is indicating of a long-term problem for Governor Ron DeSantis. Now, I can just hear everybody now. Will you please quit beating up on Ron DeSantis? Well, look, I'm not the one beating up on him. Okay? I'm really not. I'm not trying to beat up on the poor guy. I mean, yeah, I've got my opinions about it. I've got my opinions about what I think he's done to himself, but I'm not trying to beat up on the guy. Look, I'm just reading the news like everybody else. Oh, that's great. Ron de who? What? Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. That just absolutely cracked me. Oh. Well, it's been very well documented what's going on with how badly things are going for Governor DeSantis as he's trying to run this campaign for the Republican nomination for the presidency. And a couple of articles came out in Politico Thursday and Friday, and I think they spell long-term trouble for him politically. And I want to show you this first one because to me this is the coup de grace. This is from Politico. Waiting for him to drop out. DeSantis' influence nosedives in Florida. Okay. Take a look at this. Article written by Gary Fineout and Kimberly Leonard, Tallahassee. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is losing his clout in Florida. College boards stacked with DeSantis appointees are rejecting job candidates with ties to the governor. The chair of the Republican Party of Florida urged executive committee members to attend all GOP candidate events, giving cover to party faithful who want to attend a dinner at Mar-a-Lago with former President Donald Trump. And the board that oversees many of Florida's affordable housing programs this month placed on leave its executive director, who was helped into the job by a top DeSantis advisor. Interviews with nearly 24 lobbyists, political consultants, and lawmakers revealed that DeSantis' struggles as a presidential candidate have eroded his influence in Florida. There is widespread expectation that his candidacy will end in failure. His standing at home may depend on how long he slogs forward in the presidential campaign and how he will manage his exit from the race if he eventually drops out. Now, it may be just a matter of time before Florida Republicans, once unflinchingly loyal, seek to distance from DeSantis and his hardball governing methods. Quote, "You don't get the assumption they are measuring the drapes anymore. They are waiting for him to drop out," one longtime Republican consultant said in Tallahassee of those working for the governor. The consultant, like others quoted in this story, was granted anonymity to freely discuss the sensitive situation. State Representative Daniel Perez, the Miami Republican in line to become the next Speaker of the House, urged his GOP colleagues this week to move more carefully in the future, saying, quote, "Problem with wielding the power of government like a hammer is that people start looking like nails." Good quote. Perez insisted his comments was not a message to the governor, but added, quote, "That being said, the legislature cannot work alone. The legislature works with the governor." And no matter how he framed his comments, Perez's words were being viewed as a rejoinder to DeSantis. One Tallahassee lobbyist said it was a signal that the conveyor belt legislature that passed whatever DeSantis wanted is coming to an end. DeSantis is one of Florida's most powerful governors and has used his influence and sway over the past 5 years to transform politics in the state, including getting the Republican-controlled legislature to bow to his agenda. He reshaped the state's education system by installing allies in top university positions and pushed legislation that limits how race and gender are taught. He endorsed dozens of K through 12 school board candidates in the wake of the pandemic in an effort to help Republicans control all levers of state government. He used his power to suspend elected officials, including 2 Democratic prosecutors, while strong-arming his own party to approve congressional redistricting maps that favor Republicans. He's also known for his competitive streak, willing to fight major corporations like Walt Disney, Google, and the cruise line industry. But DeSantis' troubles on the campaign trail have emboldened some in his party who are exhausted by his aggressive tactics. The state party last week rescinded a loyalty pledge that would have obligated the GOP primary candidates to endorse the eventual Republican presidential nominee, a stunning turnaround made at the behest of Trump supporters and against DeSantis' wishes. Okay, let's get into this. Yeah, good. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, Robert. Absolutely great way of putting it. Florida, somewhat, man. You know, I have to give the authors of this article from Politico a lot of credit because this is an angle that I hadn't really stopped to think about. But they're absolutely right. Ron DeSantis's one of his arguments for being the Republican nominee for president, and it's kind of an unspoken argument too. It's an argument that says, I am a powerful governor. I can get things done. Look at what I'm doing through the Florida legislature, yada, yada, yada. Well, that all works built on a number of different things. And one of them is the fear that you engender from members of your own party, but also your goodwill capital that you're willing to spend. Now, what do I mean by goodwill capital? Rich Barris, the People's Pundit, made a fascinating point the other day when he was talking about this very same article, which, by the way, I give a shout out to Rich Barris. I'm I found this because of him, and I thought, yeah, this is definitely worth talking about. We need to talk about this. But Rich Barris pointed out something, a difference between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, and it's this. Trump is all about relationships. DeSantis appears to be all about a function of power. Oh, yeah, I love him too. Just love the guy. Absolutely love him. Trump's about relationships. DeSantis is about the execution of power. And what are we getting at? Okay, so let's say that Donald Trump is trying to get a bill through Congress. Okay, so he calls up some Republicans. Maybe they're on the fence. Maybe even some Democrats are. They're on the fence. He brings them over to the White House. Says, "Come on, guys, what's going on here?" Well, Mr. President, we got this problem. Okay, let's talk this thing out. Trump will work relationships to try to get things done. He'll needle you, he'll wheedle you, he'll persuade you, he'll slap your back, he'll shake your hand, he'll give you a Big Mac, whatever, okay, to try to get you to come over to his side on this thing. DeSantis is somewhat the opposite, it appears. That DeSantis is all about, I'm the governor, I'm the head of the party, and by God, you're going to do this. But governor, no, you didn't just hear what I said. I'm the governor, you're going to do this. And that works. That works so long as you've got the power to back it up. In other words, when people no longer fear you or fear what you could do to them, then your power is diminished. Okay, because you didn't build what you've got based on relationships. You built it on the execution of almost aggressive power. And the problem for DeSantis is he's now outside of Florida. Okay. And anywhere he goes, Iowa, New Hampshire, whatever, it's getting worse and worse and worse to the point, depending upon whose poll you look at, be it nationally or statewide, he's dropping like a stone. Now, if he were just Ron DeSantis, okay, him losing a presidential election like he's losing it right now would be bad, but long term, it wouldn't have any problems for him. But he's not Ron DeSantis absent anything else. He's Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, the incumbent governor of Florida, might I add. And here's the problem. No matter how this thing turns out for the Republican nomination for president, which frankly, I've said before and I'll say it again, I think it's a fait accompli. I think Trump's going to be the nominee. Now, everybody can like that, get mad about it, think whatever, but I mean, facts are facts. Trump's going to be the nominee. If you're Ron DeSantis, that sort of begs the question. I've got 2 years left on my governorship. How do I want them to be? Because he's term limited. There's no running for re-election here. He's done. Okay. And if the members of the Florida legislature are realizing that they've got a weakened opponent that they no longer have to fear, that they no longer have to worry about retribution, then his ability to get things done in the legislature starts slowly winding down. And it's going to be harder and harder for him in the last 2 years to get things done because the legislature already knows he's term limited. Okay. But even in being term limited, he would still be able to exercise power. Because let's be honest, politics is transactional. People want things. I'll give you this if you'll give me this. Good old-fashioned horse trading. People don't like it, but that's the reality. But if DeSantis has nothing to trade, or more to the point, he has no power to make you fear him, then how are you going to get anything done if you're DeSantis? And if you're the members of the legislature, the thought becomes, who's next? Who do we start looking to? Yeah, we'll see. But here are two other aspects of it to think about. Okay? Number one, and we're going to find this out in 2026. Okay. Has DeSantis, through his very aggressive style of governance, and I don't mean the fights he's taken on, don't get me wrong. I think the stuff with Disney, yeah, that definitely ought to have been fought. The fighting woke in the public schools, yeah, I agree. Should have been fought. I don't have a problem with that. What I'm talking about is the management style. Okay. How he got it done. Question number one. Has DeSantis put the governorship of Florida at risk for the Republican Party? In other words, has he done so much damage that whoever succeeds him, and I'm sure obviously the Republican Party wants him to be a Republican, has he caused damage to their chances at winning? And the second question becomes, long term, politically, what does Florida look like after DeSantis? I don't know. But just some things to think about. I found these articles and I just found to be really interesting and thought it was definitely worth talking about. So, thought I'd bring them to your... Wait a minute. Hang on a second. Who is the... My God, they'll let anybody on my street. I don't believe this. Boy, get up here. Get up on it.
Hey!
What are you doing here this morning?
I thought I'd come surprise you.
Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the high harlot of Queens, New York, Mike Harlow. How you doing, brother?
I like that. I like that. That's the official title.
Yeah, the high harlot of Queens. There you go.
How are you, my love? I'm sooner to surprise you, but I'm not a morning person.
Well, now see, I'm not surprised by that because you New Yorkers, y'all never sleep. Doesn't matter what borough y'all are in. All right, are you getting an echo or are you getting?
Yeah, I'm hearing me.
All right, hang on.
I don't like hearing me.
Okay, hang on a minute.
I don't like hearing myself in my own head, let alone through speakers. How is everybody? Hey, Robert.
Oh my Lord, it is Mike Harlow. Oh my gosh. Okay.
How are you, my love?
Well, I'm fantastic. I'm absolutely fantastic. So this is just a pleasant surprise. You know, I'm sitting here on my front porch. I'm looking down the street, and I'm like, who is that skinny white boy that's oh my God, here he comes. So yeah.
You think I'm skinny? Thank you.
Well, I can't call you fat. You're definitely not that.
I don't, maybe lately.
Stop it.
What did I miss? What have you guys been ranting about?
What? Now, sir, do I ever rant? I ask you, please. Come on. Okay, all right, maybe. Yeah. No, we've been talking about the whole Russell Brand thing. We've been talking about yeah, that's crazy.
What's your TDL? What are your thoughts in a gist?
Well, pretty much everything I've said. I mean, while I may not agree with Russell Brand on everything, and while whatever, I mean, for the past however many years, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll Lothario that apparently he once was, he's cleaned up his act. He's happily married.
You're not allowed to be that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And, with anybody else, he's innocent until he's proven guilty. To me, the fascinating aspect of this is that, and like I said earlier, if people needed a real example of in-your-face censorship, look at what YouTube's doing, demonetizing his channel, and then look at what Rumble's response to that is like, screw you, we're not going to demonetize this guy. We're not going to about to do it. So I mean, and worse yet, I mean, this one's so blatant. The government of Great Britain is sending letters, an open letter. They're not hiding it. I mean, that's the part that cracks me up.
No, they never need to hide it. That's the thing.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, they're not even trying to hide it. And they're sending a letter saying, do you intend to follow YouTube's decision to demonetize his channel? And Chris Pavlovsky's like, go pound sand. We're not about to do it. And I'm like, hell yes.
That's great.
About time. Absolutely. So, yeah, we've been talking about that. We talked about...
to make me think, like, even if they had video of him, like, standing over some people, pillaging them, doing all the assaults, like, I still wouldn't care. I'm sorry, because, like, Where was the government writing letters about Epstein, about what was his name? Jimmy Savile? And my British friend tells me I pronounce it wrong, so now I'm afraid to pronounce it at all. You never see them with anything else. So the agenda that's happening is so clear. When he's, the mainstream media hasn't talked about Russell Brand in 15 years maybe, and now suddenly he's the front page of every newspaper. That ain't because he's such a big star in the mainstream.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like Taylor Swift was caught raping bitches.
Yeah, really. So, it's just really kind of mind blowing. Just kind of mind blowing to me. Hang on a second. While we're talking, I'm multitasking here. So, all right. So, first of all, welcome to Front Porch Brunch. We're so glad to have you.
I'm so glad to be here.
Well, no, I mean, dude, like I said, you're walking down the electronic street. I'm seeing this skinny white boy, and I'm like, holy hell, get up here.
I thought I'd come raid your stream.
Well, rate it you did, my friend. Rate it you did. So, okay, so if you've never been here before, we're kind of like a review of the news stuff. But you know what? I mean, look, what's blowing the air up your pant leg? I mean, what's in the news that you want to talk about?
I think you know what it.
Oh Lord,
but it's not news anyway. What in the news is?
Yeah, when you're reading the news, consuming the news, as I know you are, as you're prone to do, as a powerful and influential member of social media.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Well,
any day now, I will use my influencer powers to influence my dad to stop wearing Crocs.
Oh, bless his heart, as we say here in the South. Bless his heart. But no, I mean, we're just sitting around. We actually, before you got here, we'd reached the point of what I call HodgePodge Stew, which is okay, let me explain this. And Tony, welcome. I saw your comment about Mike's Twitter brought you here. Apparently, he decided to let everybody else know.
I was like, I'm raiding his stream. Come hang out.
Well, HodgePodge Stew are those collection of stories that maybe aren't as high profile or whatever, but they range anywhere from the serious to the weird to the funny or anywhere in between. And, usually toward the end of the live stream, I was going to get into a few of them. So, I mean, I've got them.
I've got some shocking news to report. This is really shocking. I did not expect this in any way. I don't know if you heard, Gavin Newsom vetoed California's bill to take kids away from their parents if they won't transition them.
I saw that.
And I think the only possible explanation is that he really does want to run for president, and he's the only person with an ounce of awareness in the Democratic Party to understand that that's poison. That's the only explanation. I can't imagine. And of course, they're all screaming he's transphobic. He's all of these things.
Oh my God.
I'm shocked that I did not expect that.
Well, hang on a second. You keep talking, because I'm going to see if I can Twitter find this thing real fast. So,
I think Colin Wright and Christina Buttons were posting about it.
Well, all right. Well, let me ask you a question while I'm looking this up, and this will give us a chance to chat and everything else. So, I know what Saturday mornings are like in my neck of the woods, and I'll just give you a descriptor, because I'm very curious, because that's one of the things that we usually do here is that we have someone in chat who goes by the handle Up in Connecticut, and I'll say, okay, what's going on in Connecticut?
Ghost.
And so in my neck of the woods on a Saturday morning, and I'll give you what it was like when I was a kid. My bedroom was directly off of the kitchen in my mom and dad's house. It would be nothing for me to wake up on a Saturday morning to the smell of eggs in the skillet, a pan of biscuits in the oven, gravy, sausage gravy, and if my dad was in a really good mood and had the time to do it, fried apples. Okay, this was Saturday morning breakfast. Okay, and maybe some bacon thrown in for craps and grins. So New York City, it's Saturday morning. I mean, you're living in Queens now, but I know at one time you've lived in Manhattan.
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Let me set this up for people who are watching. I walk out, or you and I walk out of a brownstone somewhere in Manhattan in a neighborhood, like let's say like I walk out of my brownstone and I look in one direction, there's the Brooklyn Bridge. We're in a really nice neighborhood. We walk out of a brownstone together. Tell me what Saturday morning in New York City is like.
Now or when it was good?
When it was, we'll
Now
go with
it's
when
just
it was good.
depressing and everyone avoids each other.
Well,
But
all
when
right,
it was good, when I was growing up, my dad would always go and get like a big bag of H&H bagels, which are the best ones in New York, and lox and cream cheese, and we'd all have them, and you'd sit at the piano and sing songs, and the neighbors would come over and stuff. Have you ever seen that movie You've Got Mail?
yes, I've
That
seen
is
it.
basically like a tour of my neighborhood that I grew up in. They filmed it all there. It all takes place there, and almost everything is gone now from it. I thought it would be interesting maybe to like do a video of those kinds of movies that took place on the Upper West Side and show, or even Ghostbusters is another one, and show like this is how it was then. This is how it is. This is that same block now, just with vagrants and tents, and it's so sad. It was the nicest place, and now there's just like tents everywhere and bums. But then when I was living in Brooklyn on my own, I was roommates with a friend of mine. I would like cook breakfast. We'd sit on the stoop or sit on the roof, invite people over. That shit just really doesn't exist here anymore, though.
Oh, it's a shame. It really is.
It really
Is. Okay, I think I
But
found.
we were talking about this before. I am officially out of here in February. I'm moving to Florida.
Okay, now have you found a place down there, or
No?
you're
But
still...
I yesterday just signed the agreement that I'm giving up my place. And I've lived here for years now. I'm giving up my place February 1st. So I have to move by February 1st.
Dude, congratulations. My thoughts and prayers are with you and your family, because I know this has been a goal of yours to as painful as it might be to give up the familiar comforts of where you're from. I know y'all have had a goal now, being able to move out of New York City, and now you're finally taking the steps to do it, and that's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I'm excited.
Okay. Well, I think I found something here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Here we go. This is dated yesterday to the members of the California State Assembly. I'm returning 957 without my signature. This legislation will require a court, when determining the best interest of a child in a child custody or visitation, to consider, among other comprehensive factors, a parent's affirmation of the child's gender identity or gender expression. I appreciate the passion and values that led the author to introduce the bill. That said, I urge caution when the executive and legislative branches of the state government attempt to dictate legal standards. Yeah, oh boy, he's really running for president.
Right.
Dictate legal standards for the judicial branch to apply. Other-minded elected officials in California could very well use the strategy to diminish the civil rights of vulnerable communities. Moreover, a court is required to consider a child's health, safety, and welfare when determining the best interest of a child in these proceedings, including the parent's affirmation of a child's gender identity. For these reasons, I cannot sign this bill. Sincerely, Gavin Newsom. I'm like you.
That was a whole way of talking a lot and saying nothing.
Oh yeah, have you ever met a politician who didn't? I mean, good grief, it's crazy. But yeah, I'm surprised he's doing this.
Same.
I really am. I'm surprised.
It has to be politically motivated. I mean, I can't imagine any other reason. Like, I'm positive also that I've heard him speak about how we should trans children.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
Like, California is a state for trans kids and stuff. So I don't get the sudden change of heart. I'm glad about it, but
yeah, I'm like you. Well, speaking of kids and all social media issues, have you heard the news that Disney has decided to quiet the noise in the culture wars? Oh, check this out. This will crack you up. Disney said,
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, Disney CEO says company will, quote, quiet the noise in the culture wars, according to analysts' note. Let me find this real quick. This still cracks me up. Disney CEO Bob Iger told investors the company will quiet the noise in a culture war that has pitted social conservatives against the global media and entertainment conglomerate, according to an analyst note on Wednesday. Iger's brief statement, included in an analyst report from Needham Media analyst Laura Martin, was part of the investors' presentation on Tuesday at Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, in which the CEO announced that Disney will double its investment in theme parks and cruise ships over the next decade. Well, that would be all well and good, except for one thing. Try this. He said the same thing back in November of last year. And I gotta give a lot of credit.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I gotta give Ryan Kinnell of RK Outpost, because I was watching Friday Night Tights last night, and he's the one that, it wasn't this exact same article, but he pointed out, look, Iger's been saying this ever since he got the CEO position back from Chapek. And this article was written, I think, November of last year, if I can find a timestamp on the thing. But yeah, I mean, here it is, November 29, 2022. He's not saying anything new here, people. He's really not. I mean, I'm not trying to, well, no, I am, because he's a hypocritical piece of crap. But he's not saying anything new here. And honestly, Disney's saying, well, we're going to quiet the noise. What does that mean exactly?
Nothing. It means nothing.
Thank you.
It's like Gavin Newsom. I encourage caution. It's a whole way of talking and saying nothing.
Yeah, I mean, if I start seeing reports that Disney is mass firing people in certain departments,
they're not going to do that.
And they've start producing a series of movies that, everybody's not screaming about, gender identity and woke and everything else. Okay, maybe
the pansexual robots out of the movies.
Yeah, maybe I start believing Bob Iger. Okay, this dude is one of the biggest loads of horse shit walking God's earth on two legs. Sorry for folks out there watching. I apologize for my language. But
he is a good Southern gentleman.
Exactly.
I, however, am not.
which means anything might liable to fly out his harlot's mouth. But yeah, this guy's a load of crap on two legs. I mean, seriously. He's trying to get the heat off of Disney, to get the stock price back up, to save his collective butt, and Disney's rear end doing it. This is not quiet, like I said.
And I hope that it's become costly for them to push all this propaganda. So hopefully maybe we'll see a difference now. Probably not. But hopefully it's been costly for them. I think both of these things are examples, though, that I think the tide is really starting to change.
Well, I'll tell you what, talking about costly, hang on a minute. There has been, let me find it real fast. I'm out on Yahoo Finance real fast. I'm trying to find Disney's last stock price that went as of Friday. Yeah, I can.
Oh yeah, it's way down, right?
Oh, it's not just way down, it's how down it is. That's the problem. It's currently running right now as of 4:00 on Friday, like 81.25. But the kicker to that is, over a 52-week, over like year to year, they were running. Oh yeah, it's bad. It's just
bad.
That's
beautiful.
Yeah, they had a high of like 110 back in January this year, and they've sunk like almost $30 on the share price.
Wow.
And when Iger announced that they were doing this, investing like $10 billion over the next 6 or 7 years in the theme parks, the stock went down even further. And because nobody trusts this guy anymore. I mean, they might give him lip service on Wall Street, but no one's believing that he can turn this thing around. And if
it's
they did,
amazing too that you'd be losing anything. They own everything. Like, what does Disney own? Just everything.
Yeah, I mean, ABC,
Fox.
No, parts of Fox.
21st
Century Fox, 21st Century Fox, ESPN, ABC News, or the ABC Corporation, I should say. which
Hulu, Disney Plus, Marvel, The Muppets, Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, all of it. And this goes back to a conversation I remember having with Culture Casino. And I asked him, I was like, look, they've got all the money. They supposedly have all the talent. Why can't these people make a product that anybody wants to watch?
You know what? And you know what? You know what we really do not talk about enough? We all talk about how Disney ruined Star Wars, how Disney ruined all these different things. Yep. We do not talk enough about how Disney ruined the Muppets.
You know, that's true.
Disney ruined the Muppets. First of all, let me take you through the oral history of how Disney ruined the Muppets.
Please do.
All, 2011, they come out with the best Muppet movie in years. Way better than Muppets in Space. I must say, even better than Muppets Treasure Island. Probably the best one since The Great Muppet Caper. And they come out, and it's a big hit, and it's so good. And Jason Segel is in it, and he's so hot. And what do they do afterwards? What do they follow it up with? Fucking nothing. Nothing. All shit. All fucking watered down, dumbed down shit. And then what do? They fire the voice of Kermit the Frog. The one trained by Jim Henson.
What?
The voice of Kermit since Jim Henson died. They fire him. And now fucking Kermit the Frog, you hear him talk and he sounds like a fucking chop.
Oh my! Why did they fire the voice? Why did they fire
Disney, you ruined the Muppets.
Why did they fire the voice of Kermit?
Because he said he wasn't happy with what Disney was doing with them. And made like the lightest, most gentle criticism in the world. Fired. And now they have as the voice of Kermit, they have just like some guy. And he just sounds like some little soy boy in Brooklyn. Kermit the Frog. Don't get me fucking started on the shit. Is Esteban here, by the way?
Yes, Esteban. Hey. Esteban is here. Yes.
And they made that fucking movie with big fat Melissa McCarthy. They had puppets jizzing, string. Nobody wants to see that. Are you insane?
Oh my god.
Fucking Disney.
Yeah.
Did you see the 2011 Muppet movie?
No.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh God.
I feel like that was sort of the end of Disney being capable of putting out good things. 2011.
Well, that gets me to something, and I'm glad you're here. So let me ask you this question. And for those of you who are popping in now at the high hour of noon, my name is Brian Tripp, and I'm the Front Porch Conservative. This is the high harlot of Queens, New York, Mike Harlow. And he woke up and was like, well, let's go see what the hell Trippett's doing. Let me ask you something. And because I've been pondering this question now for a while, and we're in the middle of a writer's strike. We're in the middle of an actor's strike. There's no signs that's going to let up anytime soon. Even prior to the strike, normies, however you want to define that, have been looking at modern entertainment, and they're realizing this stuff's crap. Yeah. It's terrible. Are we at a, and I want your genuinely honest opinion on this, are we at a point of cultural inflection where the old institutions of entertainment, Disney, 20th Century Fox, Paramount, name the studios, are we at an inflection point where younger, more creative, more risk-taking people are ready to come forward, put their work on the line, and let it be in the free marketplace of ideas, or in the free marketplace of entertainment, and let people make the determination, hey, these guys aren't Hollywood, these guys aren't whatever. I mean, they're not part of the entertainment establishment, but these guys over here, they're making a good product. I'm gonna go check out these guys. Or are we still captured by the money and the influence and the power that the old system still has?
Yes and no, I think, because the old systems of entertainment and media are clearly dying out. I mean, has anybody even noticed that there's a strike yet? Has
I haven't.
anybody, has there been any sacrifice we've had to make in what we watch? No, because nobody's watching that crap. It all sucks. However, it needs to be replaced with something. And I think that's the struggle, is that younger artists who are kind of dissident are just going to need to make the money to fund their own stuff, because the right
Yeah.
has no reverence for pop culture, for art, for nothing. They don't. That's the thing. The left puts their money where their mouth is. They fund people. They get all their propaganda in entertainment. They understand how useful and important entertainment is. The right couldn't give two shits. So there are people on the right who could be funding young artists, but they choose not to. So I think it'll be a much slower process of people just having to make things DIY style for a while.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that completely.
And then, sort of the only people doing anything like that are the Daily Wire, but I think it kind of lacks a component of doing things that are good.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, I again, I go back to conversations I've had with various other content creators, and they're all of the same mind. If ever there was an era to strike while the iron is hot, this is it. This really is it.
Yeah.
Um,
But, I wish I loved anything as much as the right loves losing.
yeah, that's a good point. Really is a good point.
Like,
But there
people are
are,
telling them, on their own people by the millions are telling them how important culture is, how important entertainment is, how important art is. Do they give a fuck? Nope.
yeah, and this is what I'm like you. This to me is one of the frustrations that I've got with some of the people at Daily Wire. I mean, for example, and I'll name names here. Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is an otherwise very intelligent, articulate commentator on matters of society, but when it comes to culture, pop culture, music, media, he has a blind spot for this, and I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's like, dude, I can give out 10,000 copies of the Federalist Papers to kids in schools all you want to. Give 10,000 kids a video game, and I guarantee you my 10,000 copies of the video game is going to have more impact with those kids than the 10,000 copies of the Federalist Papers I ever gave out to the other kids.
We should make that Federalist Papers video game.
Grand Theft Federalist Papers.
Yes.
Oh my
Final
gosh.
Federalist.
Yeah, Final Federalist or something. Good grief. Oh gosh. All right, so
Yeah,
so
they're
let me ask
useless, these people.
Well, all right, complete side note here. Because I know that New York City is a major pro sports mecca. I mean, you've got the Knicks, you've got the Jets, you've got the Giants, you got the Yankees, you got the Mets, you got the Islander, you got every conceivable sort of sports. And so now, but in the South, where I'm from, on Saturdays, college football reigns supreme. Okay.
Oh, that's so quaint. I want to go somewhere where there's like college football and people. I love that.
Dude, if you were in my neck of the woods, literally physically in my neck of the woods today, and I could lay my hands on 2 tickets, right now, my hometown university's football team just kicked off to a sold-out stadium of 38,000 people against, well, I'll tell you who it is. It's Virginia Tech versus Marshall. And yeah, and I probably just doxed myself, but I don't give a shit. We'd be at the game, and we'd hang out, we'd tailgate. Of course, duty calls. The Front Porch Conservative is here doing his live stream, but under normal circumstances. So I mean, Saturday mornings in the South, I was telling everybody at the top of this thing, this is what we call a kegs and eggs game. So if you're tailgating, and tailgating usually starts at like 8:00 in the morning or 7, you're cooking breakfast on an open stove, and you are. Tell me you didn't freeze up.
No, I
Okay,
was
no, okay.
just
Oh,
listening
sorry.
intently.
Okay. Yeah. At 7 or 8:00 in the morning, you're cooking eggs on an open stove, and you've probably got a beverage of some kind, which is probably mimosas, and you're tailgating, you're hanging out, and then, around about, 11 or 11:30, you you go to the stadium and you watch the game. That's what Saturday morning football culture is like in the South.
Good point.
And depending upon what hour of the day your game starts, if it's like a 3 o'clock game or a 6 o'clock game or whatever, you are partying all day long. Okay. And all right, let me ask you this question. And have you ever been to a college football tailgate?
No, I don't. I was literally having to ask someone the other day to explain football to me. So,
Oh, dude, when you get down to Florida, let's see, and I know what part of Florida you're going to be in, so that puts you probably University of South Florida because it's going to be Tampa Bay area. Okay, dude, find some friends, and you will because I know you. You've never met a stranger, which is part of why I love you so much. Find some friends down there who are connected to the local university, which is probably South Florida, if I remember my geography correctly, and find a way to get yourself to a college tailgate. Because I'm telling you, it's one of the best. If it's a really good school and they have fans that really care, their tailgates, and some of them get really elaborate. I'll never forget this. I have seen people bring in like a touring bus. And they've got canopies and satellite dishes on the back of this sucker so they can set up a TV and watch other games while they're waiting for their game to kick off. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. No, dude, you will love it when you get down in the South. And Florida, I don't know. For some strange reason, I never consider Florida the South.
Same. I agree.
I mean, to me,
it's kind of like its own planet.
Yeah, to me, the South stops at the Georgia-Florida line.
Yeah.
Florida is its own universe. That's all I mean, don't get me wrong.
By the way,
I love my Florida people.
Keep sending me these videos of crazy shit happening in Florida, and they're like, "Oh, you sure you want to be there? Ooh, you picked a great place." Like, I'm like, you don't know me, because that just makes me want to move there more. Because I was really nervous about leaving New York. Am I gonna not have crazy shit happen to me anymore? And I could not be in a place without crazy people, because I love crazy people. They are my peeps. I could not exist in a place like Connecticut or something where they're all so fucking normal. No, I need vagrants. I need crackheads. I need alligators swallowing people up. I will be amongst my people. The crazies.
Now up in Connecticut, that was not directed at you. We just want you to know we love
you.
No,
it was, because I bet he's like very normal. And I bet she's very normal. And I feel like nothing crazy really happens in Connecticut. It's like Martha Stewart is there.
Well, Martha Stewart's crazy.
I love her though.
Well, yeah, but she's her own form of screwy. Okay, let's be honest about it.
She will cut you. That woman has been to federal prison.
Yeah, that woman's been hanging out with Snoop Dogg. That woman's been, and what she didn't learn in prison, she learned from Snoop Dogg, because I'm telling you, he taught a girl how to take care of herself. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I love her so much. Connecticut asked when I get in Florida. So at the very latest, February 1st.
Okay.
Hopefully, maybe a little bit sooner. Probably like next month or so. I'm going to start apartment hunting.
Okay. Well, now Esteban, when it gets down now, because okay. So my memory is correct. University of South Florida is in that Tampa Bay area. So Esteban, when it gets to college football season down there, you make sure you take care of Mikey as far as tailgating. Okay, I want to see pictures and reports. Now there's a fun idea for you. You need to do a video live stream or a video of your first college tailgating experience, okay. Mike. I'm telling you, you'll have a blast. I mean, just get you a 6-pack of Corona, get you some limes, take them with you. You and Esteban find someplace. And if you get in with a really good group. And I speak from experience here. You get in with a really good group, everybody's going to agree to bring a certain food to the tailgate.
I'm on the food committee. Okay.
Okay. I'm telling you, you're going to love this.
You got to come with us. You got to come visit. By the way, we were talking last night. We were on the phone last night while I was walking to the grocery store, and I was just thinking, you were talking, so I didn't even tell you, but like there was a crackhead vagrant walking through. I got to cross the street to avoid a crackhead vagrant with his pants down, touching himself. And I was just like, how long until I get to Florida?
Oh, mother of God.
And like, I didn't even mention it when we were on the phone because I'm like, it's
Well,
just
thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, no, but it's just so normal to me at this point.
God, isn't that sad?
I saw evidence of Mikey's weirdness in Kieran's live stream. Oh God.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
That was fun.
Yeah. Now, Esteban, here's your opportunity as well.
Yeah, you're talking tailgating to a bunch of homos. Like this might be lost on us.
No. Homos can tailgate too.
Really?
I mean, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if anything, y'all gonna make your tailgate even more unique. You're gonna like shishi
We're highly experienced in tailgating.
All right. Go out on YouTube. All right, look, here's your homework assignment. Go out on YouTube, type in tailgating, college tailgating.
YouTube or OnlyFans?
Well, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. But let's just start with YouTube. Let's keep it family friendly. And there's your homework assignment. If you want an understanding of what tailgating is like, then go find some videos and you'll get a flavor for what it is.
Did I tell you something hilarious and kind of random, by the way? Speaking of OnlyFans,
go right ahead.
This is very random. This is very random.
Go ahead.
So get this shit. So I was at an event recently, right? Kind of conservative-ish event.
Okay.
And there was this guy there who was talking to me. And I was thinking, I was like, is he trying? You know those people who it's kind of like those pictures where it can either be an old lady or a cat, depending how you look at it. You know those people who they're kind of like that, and you could look at them one of two ways, and one of those ways, they would be trans.
Yeah.
So I was thinking he looked a little transy. I was like, is he trans? So anyway, follows me on Instagram the other day, and apparently he's like this OnlyFans slut who's this whole like porn star. I'm like, what the hell is he doing at some like conservative event? But so I was apparently wrong, not trans, apparently.
You know, funny you should say that, and I'll never forget this. The porn star Brandy Love got kicked out of it. Was it a Turning Point USA? Yeah. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, guys, look, she paid the freight to get in. She had all the passes to go around to the place. It's not like she's out there in some untoward outfit, you know, and 3 or 5 year olds saying, "Mommy, why is she dressed that way?" Okay, she's being whatever. Look, you may disagree with the industry she's in, but she's there trying to support the cause that she believes in. Yeah. Okay.
We need more people, not less. The fucking right is the only group of people on planet Earth who is constantly trying to make themselves smaller and get less people.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're shocked when they lose.
Yeah, and that to me is one of the fascinating things about the era in which, I mean, I find myself is that, and I'm sure you'd feel this way too. It's like people that otherwise, let's say 10, 15 years ago, we never thought that we would ever be aligned with. We're now realizing, hey, things have gotten so bad that, I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with you if it means fighting for the culture that we love.
Tit to tit.
Yeah, or tit to tit, and depending on whose tits we're talking about, that could be very pleasurable. But laying that aside. Oh God. Oh my God. Okay.
You don't carry any sharp objects.
Oh my God. All right. Right in the toilet. I love you. I love you. But yeah, it's I mean, I'm thinking back to Tracy from Keto and Crime. She said, I'm an atheist lesbian, and I never thought I'd be standing shoulder to shoulder with conservative Christians on cultural issues. And and you're right, but there are some people on the right side of the political spectrum, they would much rather be pure than victorious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the best. I mean, it's the best way to say it.
It's maddening. It's like, let us help you. We're trying to help you.
Yeah, and by the way,
morons.
We should be joint attributed to that quote. Since we did it together on this live stream, there are people on the right who would much rather be pure than victorious. So when that quote gets thrown around, it should be attributed to Harlow and Trippett.
It was all you, buddy.
No, you're on my live stream. You inspired it, so I'm just saying we're going to get joint credit for that one.
Though.
So. Yeah, it is. It really is. They'd much rather be pure than victorious. They would much rather have ideological purity. And they're as bad as the damn woke left in that regard. They really are. It's crazy. So,
Oh God, and it's so ridiculous too, like with them throwing out that porn star and stuff. Like there are actual issues here. Like, did you hear? So, and granted, let me say maybe there's some component of this that I'm not getting because I didn't like go and look it up. However, did you see that it was like a big thing the other day and people were bitching at me about like some school removed the Diary of Anne Frank because it's too graphic and people were on the side of that. And I'm like, look, can you? Nobody is, I swear, conservatives are like a dog seeing something shiny. I'm like, can we stay focused for 2 seconds? How about, I mean, you people realize that there's like actual brainwashing porn in school libraries at this very moment. You realize that there are radical leftist indoctrination books being taught to toddlers right at this very second. How about let's focus on those things and then we can worry about Anne Frank getting her fucking period in 19 whatever.
Did you happen to see, and I think it was in the U.S. Senate, that committee hearing in Judiciary where John Kennedy of Louisiana is reading from a book that's given to kids in a library, and the thing was so, I mean, now, and what made what he did so effective, if you've ever listened to John Kennedy speak, he's probably the last of what I call those great old Southern senators. He's slow talking. He's got a drawl. You would never expect him
He hangs
to
black people in his backyard.
No, he does not do that sort of thing.
I'm kidding.
I know. I'm giving you shit. But he reads from this, and you're sitting there going, I mean, are we surprised that these words are in a book in a library somewhere that some kid can get their hands on? No. But what made the value of what he did so good is he's sitting there reading it, and you cannot escape the impact of these words. And then when he gets done, he turns to the guy and says, and why is this in a library? Explain. Y'all want to explain this one to me? And it just
let him get the words out because a lot of
he said all of it.
They won't allow them to read the book. They'll start reading the book and they'll say this is inappropriate. You're not allowed. They'll cut their mic. I'm like, oh, so only children should be allowed to hear this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He absolutely got this in.
But yes, let's focus on Anne Frank wanting to bang that other boy in the attic. Look, I hope Anne Frank. Let me just say, I hope Anne Frank was banging everyone. I hope the bitch had been through enough. She deserves it. Go get some, Anne.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people, getting some, enjoying and all. What do you think about the Lauren Boebert thing?
Again, I'm in the minority here. I am in the minority here. So just let me preface this by saying, let's understand that I am like a degenerate piece of shit. I am like,
but honest about it.
Go girl. Okay. Here's why I was going to say I'm happy for her. Here's why I'm not happy for her. She could do better.
Oh, absolutely. I agree
she
with
was
that.
out of that shitheads league.
I'm Lauren, I'm right here. Seriously, woman, you could do so much better. Seriously, come on now.
Let's find her.
Exactly.
Brian and Lauren. Boblet.
There you go. But yeah,
Tripper.
Yeah. All right. So what else about this? Because I've got some comments on it, but I haven't really talked about it, but I want to hear your side of this.
Good for her. I'm a bit envious because it has been a long time since okay, can I tell you something horrible?
Had interpersonal relations? Yeah.
Can I tell you something terrible?
All right, go ahead.
I might have gone a little bit Lauren Boebert years and years ago with someone in an empty midnight showing of the Yogi Bear movie. Because who goes to see the Yogi Bear movie at midnight? Nobody was in the theater, so.
A Yogi Bear movie? How old were you?
That's hate speech.
All right. Are we talking somewhere in the past 15 years?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then I got a ball.
Yeah. God, how old do you think I am? No, it was 40 years ago.
Hair coloring does wonder. I'm just saying, but I'm giving you crap. No, I mean here's my thought. Good thing
there was no video camera there, and the dude that I was like, getting Boberty with in there, is now a trans. A trans in Antifa, like that's high up on the what was I thinking list. Everybody thinks it's terrible what she did. I only think it's terrible because she could have done better. Otherwise, I would have been like, go girl. Oh, and here's the thing. Like, these fucking leftists, I mean, pretending like we were just saying, they are completely support books on how to give blowjobs being taught to second graders. They've never met anything degenerate that they didn't love. And now, oh my God, Lauren Boebert had her hand on someone's leg. Oh goodness, fuck off. I'm not gonna, you could say it was obnoxious, wrong, whatever you want to say. However, I just refuse to get on board with their pearl clutching and act like, that she did anything so terrible. I mean, it's not like she was sucking his dick in the theater.
Well, okay. And that
she might have if they let her go on a little bit, but we didn't get to that point.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, the video that I saw.
Yeah, Robert, she got groped. Big deal. How about that Epstein client list? Mm-hmm. And also, we all want to be groped in a theater. Come on. Or anywhere. It doesn't have to be a theater. Anywhere. Like, it has been a long time. I wish somebody would grope me like Lauren Boebert.
They acted like two human beings, for God's sake. Okay.
And that is the thing. You're not allowed to be a human being. You are not allowed to act like a human being today, where this surveillance culture, everyone's watching at all times. Everybody is like, it's such a Karen. Everyone is always watching. We're all expected at all times to act like we're publicists at dinner with our girlfriend's parents and walking on eggshells all the time. And you're not allowed to be human. So fuck that.
And up in Connecticut makes a great point. Who stalks a lady with a night vision camera?
Oh, she was so set up. And the guy was like a Democrat. Yeah.
Well, okay. So here's where I'm sort of at on this thing. And I was having a discussion about this with a family member the other night.
Grope game.
Yeah, grope game. Okay. Is Lauren Boebert a member of Congress? Yes. Should she obviously be aware there's going to be people watching her? Of course. On the other hand, she went on a date. She's in a dark theater with a guy who's really into her and she's really into him. And yes, they were being naughty. He was feeling her up and she was running her fingers up the inside of his thigh.
Have we learned nothing from Alanis Morissette?
Yeah. I mean, she acted like a normal human being. In the grand scheme of everything going on in the universe and currently in the United States, this is the least of my worries. Okay?
Would she go down on you in a theater?
Well,
she would. We know she would. We know the answer for Lauren Boebert. She would.
They were both acting like horny teenagers, and you know what? Hats off to them. Okay, I'm happy for them.
Oh my God, that's why I had a hat on my.
Lord, boy, you just woke up. Woo! Look at that head of hair. Bless your heart. But yeah, I mean, she acted like a normal human being.
Not allowed to be a human being.
Apparently, and it's like, oh my Lord, it's just crazy. I found that clip from John Kennedy reading from that book. Now, if certain words and phrases offend you, I am telling you now, full disclosure for those of you watching this live stream, this stuff gets graphic. Okay, so just that caveat. So I'll play a little bit of this. Hang on. Sometimes my live stream does this. Hang on. We
can't hear.
Here we go.
Can you guys hear it? Chat, let us know if you can hear it.
Hang on. No, they're having trouble hearing it.
I thought it was just me.
Okay. Sorry about that, folks. I thought I had this straightened out. Apparently not. But yeah, this is what, if people could actually hear it, it would blow your mind. It really would. It's like, this is.
Can we get a reenactment?
I might be able to have this problem fixed. Hang on, let's try this again. Or at least I'll back this up just a hair. Let's try this again, shall we? Tell me if you guys can hear this.
And I began to slide into him from behind.
Can you hear that, Mike?
I pulled out of him while he masturbated. He asked me to turn over while he slipped a condom on himself. This was my ass, and I was struggling to imagine someone inside me.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Do you see why this is so effective? It's the fact that he's reading this, and people are like, holy crap.
Also,
Yes,
who do they think
Robert,
wants to know about this? Yeah, Robert. Who do they think wants to know about this? Like, I don't want to know about it.
Yeah,
And they think
exactly.
kids need to hear this?
Exactly. It's just crazy. Yeah, Lord, the word. Yeah, Lord, those words coming out of his. That's what
my ass.
This is my ass.
I need to have that in my intro to my live stream. That needs to be the beginning of every show.
Dude, I am
this
sending
is my ass.
I am sending this to you right
this
now.
This ass is your ass. This ass is my ass.
Okay, I'm sending this to you in DMs and Twitter, so you can do with it what you want. That's all I'm saying. You know, oh my God, it's just crazy, just crazy. I mean, yeah, it's just mind blowing, this stuff.
I love those meetings where they make them stop reading it and say it's too inappropriate, but it's not too inappropriate to be read to.
Yeah, exactly. We can have it in libraries where kids can read this stuff, but no, we can't talk about it. We can't talk about it at school board meetings. We can't read this stuff, in a school board meeting with adults, but we'll let it be in books and libraries where kids can get their hands on it. Unbelievable. So, well, it's 12:30-ish. Hang on, I think I've got. Do I have any more? Oh yeah, we'll end it on a positive note. Found a. Yeah, hang on.
Sorry, I've been on a no doubt kick lately.
Oh well, there ain't nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I did already have this pulled up. Yay for me. There are some moments in life that I feel that there might be some hope. Did you hear about this story? This happened up in Pennsylvania. Moments of hundreds of Pennsylvania high school students walked out of school.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I really think, as I said before, I really think the tide is finally turning.
I agree with you.
They've pushed us all too damn far.
Yeah, I'm not going to run audio on this, but I'm just going to let everybody see it. So here we go. Yeah, they're just hundreds of them just walking out. They're like, we're done with this. We're done with this. Now I'm thinking, go.
And you know what? And you know what's interesting as well? If these alphabet groups actually cared about the things they claim to care about, which of course they don't, but if they actually cared about gay people, which is funny to think they'd ever care about gay people, but even trans, I don't even know which term to use anymore. Transsexual people, transgender, whatever, the transes, if they cared about people not facing discrimination and not being hated and all that, they are making us more fucking hated than anything in the world. And so I think it's great that a lot of these kids are standing up against this. But what's unfortunate there we go. Sorry. What's unfortunate is that they're going to end up fucking hating gay people, transsexual people, because they're going to think that we're all this. And I don't blame them. I'd hate us too.
Yeah. I mean, the LGBT community, or whatever set of letters they're now using these days. God knows they may as well use all 26 because they've expanded it out that far.
They'll create new letters.
Yeah, exactly. They've done more harm than good. I mean, and you can speak to this. I can speak to this. We all have friends who are gays and lesbians, and they're like, we don't want to be involved in this crap. We just want to live our lives quietly, and just go on about our way. And it's like,
or maybe not quietly, but
okay. Well, more quietly than is currently apparently happening in the news. Let's put it that way. And it's just, we don't want to be a part of this. And it's like, how this gets settled, but I'm like you, we're headed for a backlash, and it's a
I hope
bad
so.
one.
Better than this.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this is
Let
Front Porch.
them have their backlash. I ain't gonna be the brunt of the backlash. Esteban ain't gonna be the brunt of the backlash. It's not, if these fucking weirdos want to do it, then they'll be the ones getting most of the backlash. Have at it.
Exactly. So, but
it's
yeah,
like
man.
it's like they say that if you say they're groomers or say they're like that's anti-LGBT, I'm like, I don't get called that. You get called that.
Yeah, you're the ones that are getting called this. We're not.
Yeah. They're like, they're calling gay people groomers. I'm like, nope, nobody calls me that.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. But yeah, this is what we do on Saturday mornings in this neck of the woods. So, God, I am so glad. Hang on.
Their best friends, college roommates, they're gay married. Oh, well, hopefully I'm next.
Well, there you go. But yeah, this is what we do on Saturday mornings in this neck of the woods. So, dude, I am so glad you stopped by. I really am.
So much.
I love you too, dude.
I will see you on my channel soon.
Well, let me know when you want me on. I'll be glad to stop by. But
I
yeah.
can't wait.
So yeah, it's about 12:30. So, we're going to let everybody start enjoying their Saturday, even beyond the enjoyment they've had in these 2 hours, of course. This is my good buddy, Mike Harlow. If you're not subscribed to his channel, please give him a sub. He's got, where can people find you on social media if they're not aware of where you're at?
I'm on the Twitters at not Mike Harlow or Instagram at Mikey.Harlow. I got a Substack. I got a YouTube channel that's just my name. Watch my show, Microaggressed.
When's Microaggressed on?
Whenever. Randomly.
Oh, okay.
It sort of just floats around whenever. Because other than you're a fucking dream. But most guests are fucking pains in the ass to schedule. So I just do it whenever people are available.
Hey, look, I've often said if you're going to be gracious enough to invite me on your channel, I'll do everything I can to accommodate you as the host. I mean, sure, as what Dean Martin used to say about Sinatra, it's Frank's world, and we're all just lucky to be living in it. In this case, it's Mike's world, and we're all just lucky to be moving around inside of it.
Or what my grandfather would say about Frank Sinatra: he's a piece of shit.
And your granddad would have known. Believe me, you would have known. But yeah, my name's Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. This has been Front Porch Brunch. I'll be back with new videos next week. I'm going to try and get some guests lined up for chatting on the porch in the near future. So we'll get that back up and running on a regular basis. But as we leave, remember, as always, in the words, and Mike, hang around because I'll talk to you after we get off this live stream. Remember, folks, that great American philosopher Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." We'll see you next time.